emotions get a super bad rap. You know, women get called emotional, like you're emotional being, as if it's some kind of a negative, you know. When you start to actually understand what emotions are, essentially they're these intelligent messenger systems. And if we learn to read the messages, which actually are original programming that's been reprogrammed over by someone else's programming that tells us to look down on emotions and repress emotions, and you know, therefore people have these really unbalanced relationships with emotions. So emotions are really the secret to profound intimacy. When you're doing a lot of like shutting down of emotions, you're going to shut yourself down sexually. You're going to cause yourself sexual problems. Doctors know this, but they just don't know what to do about it. And I think, like, you know, men need to be very aware of this, even though maybe we women may be more in touch with the energies in general, because of men being told, as I had mentioned yesterday, you know, that men are culturally programmed to just block off all their emotions, and a lot of like problems, including sexual problems that men are having, is down to this, like not having a relationship with the emotions. And if anybody has been through therapy or not been through therapy, and they might think, you know, it's quite a scary thing going to therapy, and therapy can be really degrading, and it can be gaslighting, and it can be, you know, the whole psychiatric industry is quite narcissistic as well. So it's understandable why people don't want to do that. Even if you get a good therapist, you can be going around in circles for years and years and years. And that's why they're diagnosing everyone who has a trauma with like incurable personality disorder, basically. Instead of just addressing what's their actual issues, because they don't really know how to deal with these emotions. So let's get on with this, and let's start looking how to hack into the emotional field, how it all works, and I suppose why we want to do that as well. So let me not hide this lovely picture of these people enjoying some intimacy together. The ocean of emotional wealth. Emotions are so much more than what we are told. We are told that emotions are signs of weakness we need to repress to feel good. In fact, these are powerful energies that you can learn to harness and use for your benefit and purpose. And I don't know what country everybody here is from. In fact, I'm really interested. What country are you in? Type it in the chat, right? Because we in England, we have this thing of keeping the stiff upper lip, you know, if someone died, and, you know, how a guy will have died and be like, how's his wife doing? Oh, she's holding it together, as if it's really good that she's not crying, you know, whereas if you see people in other countries, and I think actually Gaza is a really good example, where you see these women and they're just wailing and they're just letting out their emotions, and it's very painful to see in a way, but like, you know, they're dealing with their emotions, they're letting their emotions out. And it's actually, you know, I'm not just talking about the situation that's happening now, but going back over years and years and years, I was always just, you know, when I saw those pictures of those women howling and wailing when, you know, someone had died, maybe their children, and just this feeling in my body. But it wasn't like this feeling like, oh my God, it was so awful. It was almost like this feeling of, I'm not going to say like jealousy, but admiration, that they are so in touch with their emotions and able to express it. So in fact, these are powerful energies that you can learn to harness and use for your benefit and purpose. Guys, I see there's 17 of us here, and I've only got 7 answers. Get typing, come on. Denmark, England, Slovenia, Croatia, England, USA. Nice. Anywhere else? Have we got Nigeria here? I think we might have 2 Nigerians. US, British Columbia, I guess, is BC. Canada, India. Nice. Nice. It's amazing when we have like people all over the world, also because when we do these practices together, it's like, oh my God, my battery, it's just telling me my battery is about to die. Sorry. That's a bit better. All right. Um, Amazing. Nigeria, nice. I think there's two Nigerians here, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, sorry about that. That was unprofessional, but you got to forgive me because I'm in the middle of moving house. So I'm allowed to be like slightly chaotic, I think. Okay, so getting on, and I said I was going to promise you something, but you guys have all been here, so I don't need to reread the promise. Okay. So the second secret, there isn't a secret because all the secrets I'm giving you, they're not really secrets. And when we understand this stuff, we understand it exists on so many different layers, and that what's true on one layer is not true on another layer, you know? So did I hit record? Oh. Did I hit record? Oh. Sorry about that. Oh, I am recording it. What's wrong with me today? I don't know. And I've just put the wrong camera on as well. Okay. Okay. Yes. Let's get back to this. So, okay. The secret that isn't a secret, yeah, is apart from that, I'm feeling disorganized today, is that emotions are the key to amplifying your intimacy, connection, and pleasure, as well as the key to a happy life. Don't fear them. And we so much get caught up in these dramas of being like, oh, I'm angry. Oh, I feel so bad that I feel angry. Oh, I'm not a good person. Oh, I'm not spiritual. Oh, I must be a psychopath if I feel angry. I've heard all of those, and it's all really, really rubbish. And I hope that you guys have all managed to watch my masterclass about anger that's on, you can find it on YouTube very easily or pinned to the top of my group. And again, I'm not going to read all of these slides again, but just we're actually going to get started on these practices a bit today. Okay, we're going to go more in detail into the sexual practice tomorrow, but these are really powerful exercises. We've got to remember they are taught in a specific order in specific ways, and that, you know, opening the middle of a book about them and just choosing one of the exercises is not a good idea to do, because it's a step-by-step process. Let's just say that much. And I'm going to just, someone was talking to me about Kundalini today. I'm just going to say that, you know, when we go through like energy activation, and, you know, you've probably heard of people or seen people, or maybe yourself had these Kundalini awakenings that are very disruptive to the life. Okay, in Taoism, we don't want to disrupt our experience of being in the real world. In fact, we think that being in the real world is an important part of being spiritual. So what we learn to do is gently, systematically raise the energy up within our own means of what we can handle of the energy, and then bring it down again, so we can have the energy activation without all the chaos and the headaches and the confusion and the what's it, like the foggy brain and so on that people can get with Kundalini awakening and ungroundedness. So about the information here, so just to let you know, everything we're talking about here, this is the work I do with my clients, and you're all invited, if you haven't yet done so, to have a free 10-minute consultation with me, where we're just going to look into what's blocking you from getting where you're at. We won't be talking anything about the work that I do. We're going to be talking here a bit about the work that I do. But if you did want to know about the work I do and if it might be possible for us to work together, you could then get in touch with me and book a different kind of a call, essentially. So yeah, and I mean, in terms of this emotional work, it's so powerful and it's amazing, because I myself, I had this what was perhaps called chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, which was really like constantly constantly interfering with my life. It was affecting my sleep. It was affecting me like all the time, like really, yeah. And within finding out of these exercises within a few months, it really, there was such a huge change in that. And I would say like countless clients are saying as well, they're whole so quickly. And that's what's so amazing about it, is you can have years of therapy but not have such an effect, you know. And I'm not a big fan of CBT, by the way, because I just think it's just teaching you to repress things and pretend to be normal. Whereas with this, you're actually going into the energetic workings and getting them all working right again. So that's just what the last paragraph there is about. Also that, for example, like CEOs I work with literally find the benefits on their whole company within weeks of starting. People find the benefits going into the relationship as well. Like I can work on a whole relationship with only just one of the members. I don't need both of the people, because when the one person adjusts the energy, the other person will have their energy, you know, adjusting as well. So understanding your emotions, because the emotional world can seem like a complex place. When we lack the tools to process emotions, we will end up manifesting chaos. And it's kind of unsurprising that people feel negative feelings about emotions, because we just don't know what to do with them. And it's the same as, you know, if you get like imagine someone just drops off this huge untrained Rottweiler at your house, right? And it's like growling at you and you're like, oh my God, yeah. And you like go in the bedroom and shut the door, and then you open the door a little bit and the Rottweiler's like, and you're just like, ah! And you need to go out and get a cup of water, and you can't even go out and get a cup of water because this Rottweiler, right? But imagine if instead of being scared of the Rottweiler, you make friends with the Rottweiler and you train the Rottweiler. And then the next thing is it's your best friend that's like guarding your house and taking care of you and giving you unconditional love and everything. And this is how we can be with our emotions. You know, they don't need to be these kind of sinister overlords. They can actually become like our best friends and really like our humble servants that are here to serve us. And that's actually what emotions are for. They're like little messengers, basically. If you imagine having some little messenger boys, and that's what the emotions are. So when you understanding the science of emotions is essential to hone your manifestation skills. Emotions are actually pretty simple when we start to understand how they live in our internal organs and how we can transform them. So yesterday we heard about these 3 transformation centers coming up the body. And today we're going to look at how the five of our main organs are transformation centers for emotions that are also to do with our desires. We'll see that in a second, okay? You can use intention to build the energies that we want and to clear out any blockages. And I'm just going to ask you guys right now, just, you know, as I'm talking, just see what emotions are coming up for you right now, and just stick that in the chat. Yeah, what you feel is coming up. You can put it in the group chat, or if you want to put it private, send it in the private chat to me. But I'm just feeling, what emotions are you guys feeling you want to be working on? So we can even use intention to take the gifts inside negative emotions and transform them into highly useful energies. And I was just literally telling one of my clients a minute ago that negative emotions are so important. You know, if you look at people that are like entrepreneurs and so on, you're going to find they're in a really, really good relationship with their negative emotions. And they've probably done a lot of emotional work on themselves. If you're not in a good relationship with your negative emotions, chances are your business is going to fail, you know. I was listening to something on YouTube. It was this LBC London radio, right? This guy that is interviews so many different people, and someone had come on and they were talking about a certain situation that's going on somewhere in the world, and they would kept using this word anger. These people are angry, you know, really as if it's such a terrible thing that these guys are angry. And the guy who does the radio show was like, yeah, but I was like angry just the other week. I was really angry about something else that happened, right? And she's just like, oh, you know. And it was so interesting because I was like, she's obviously someone that's so not comfortable with emotions. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just so comfortable with emotions. And because he was so comfortable with emotions, he could completely get her to see things, you know, from his point of view, essentially, and actually to accept that these emotions were all a normal part of life. And I found that really fascinating. And I think that it is like you can almost divide people into two camps: those that are comfortable with their negative emotions, which is the minority, and those that aren't. And it's very powerful and very beautiful and peaceful. And people that are comfortable with the negative emotions tend to be much more, let's just say, easier people to get on with. So organs are transformation centers. So this is really interesting because for thousands of years, people knew that their organs created feelings, right? If you're sitting there thinking, what is this woman on about? Okay, I'm going to tell you, you know it too, because you wouldn't send "I love you" and a picture of a liver, or "I love you" and a picture of a kidney to your beloved, would you? What would you send to your beloved? I think every single person is going to say the same word. Which organ are you going to send a picture of to your beloved? Type it in the chat, because I bet you everyone's going to say the same thing, apart from that it's here, but you know what it is, right? And it's red as well. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is ancient knowledge that's still used today by tens of thousands of Chinese medicine practitioners. This was written down maybe like 4,500 years ago, and is still used in Chinese medicine and acupuncture. This is like a huge profession that's all over the world. And it's the same idea. Anger is in your liver, fear is in your kidneys. You probably, a lot of you are familiar with these ideas anyways. So we'll just look at them a bit more in a second. So I'm just saying this isn't something some hippie dreamed up in their attic a couple of decades ago. This is going back millennia. So according to Taoist philosophy, when our spirits hit the physical dimension and become flesh, so it's sometime after the conception that the spirit joins the fetus, they say. Yeah. What happens is that the spirit goes into a state of shock and it fractures into 5 pieces. Okay. This is Taoist philosophy, and this state of shock is like you can imagine if you've been a spirit and suddenly you turn into a physical being. It's pretty shocking, right? You know, and what happens is these become the 5 spirits which go to live in your 5 main organs. These spirits give us our desires and therefore our emotions. And I'm just going to stop for a second. I want to just check everyone's got me any questions about this. Yeah, we all send hearts on Valentine's Day. Okay, in a minute, let's start looking at these emotions as well. Okay, we're all good? No questions? So the spirit gives us our desires and therefore our emotions. So do you want to hear how this works? You want to hear? Give me a 2 in the chat if you want to hear about which spirits live in which organs, what they're called, and what emotions they create. Come on, I want a few more 2s than this if I'm actually going to go to the effort of telling you these secrets. Ha, more than half. Okay, all right, I'll tell you. I'll give it away. Okay, so spirits of your organs. In your heart resides your Shen spirit. And this gives you the desire to connect with other people and to feel love. In your liver are your Hun spirits. Notice I said a plural there. There's 3 of the Hun spirits. And these are the part of you that manifests your path in the physical and the material world. They give us creativity, confidence, drive, vision, and purpose. And you lose all of these if you repress your anger. In your spleen is the Yi. This is referred to as the consciousness of potentials, or the ability to be in the present. This gives us balance, centeredness, groundedness, nourishment, and trust. In your lungs are the Po spirits. Again, it's a plural. And I believe there's 7 of these Po spirits in your lungs. And they give us the connection to the universe or the divine and the ability to see the bigger picture. Like we are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. And your kidneys house the je, or your willpower. This gives us drive and the ability to develop wisdom. And here we have what is called the table of the 5 elements, the cycle of the 5 elements, because each of these organs has an element. Okay, the fire element for the heart, the earth element for the spleen, the metal element for the lungs, the water element for the kidneys, and the wood element for the liver. And you can literally imagine these elements within these specific organs and these colors. Okay, making sense? Cool. Okay, I'm not having, feel free to type, including type it direct to me if you want to. If you're losing me, I'm confused, anything needs explaining more. Okay, it's making sense, right? I mean, does anyone get that feeling, like how the lungs connect us up into the universe and to this kind of like spirituality? How the liver, they call the liver, it's like an army general that's getting us to kind of like, you know, march along and do our stuff, you know. I feel like it's like the kidneys are like they say the heart is like the emperor. I feel it's like the kidneys are like the empress. The lungs are like the priest. March along low. I'm curious about kidneys and willpower. Yeah, we're going to have a look and do some exercises with these organs in a minute. Okay, so here is the positive emotions. By the way, you guys will all have been sent a PDF which has all of this on it, but you're going to get another PDF with this on it. So it's also all in my genital reflexology worksheet, which hopefully you guys have got it. If not, you have my number. Just drop me a WhatsApp if you want to receive the genital reflexology worksheet if you haven't received it yet. So that's just, I've just stuck my WhatsApp. Don't worry, it's my work WhatsApp, not my private. Okay, I had a substance abuse issue a while ago. My kidneys started to hurt. If it was from the drugs hurting my body or my kidneys trying to communicate to me an emotional message, either way, I'm off drugs now. Yeah, I mean, when I had my issues in the past with chronic post-traumatic, I was addicted to smoking cannabis. I couldn't sleep without smoking cannabis, you know, and I talked to my doctor about it, and the doctor was like, well, a lot of people smoke cannabis like once a day. And I'm like, yeah, but I knew it wasn't right. I knew something wasn't wrong. It wasn't right, and something was wrong, and it was bothering me. And I did have a lot of back pain at that time. But I do think that back pain correlates a lot with blocked sexual energy and pain in the kidneys. The kidneys is all to do with like our primal, almost like, I'm going to say reptilian self. And it's not like reptilian like some monster, but it's like very, very primal self is the kidneys, like the desire to have sex. The DNA is very much connected into the kidneys as well. So we can see like all of these emotions, all of these organs and elements have these emotions, right? Love, joy, happiness, patience, trust, openness, fairness, courage, sincerity, appreciation, peacefulness, stillness, tranquility, kindness, forgiveness, benevolence, gratitude. And I just want to invite you for a moment to just kind of feel those emotions, right? Okay, and just see how that kind of sits in your body. And just take a few nice deep breaths. And now we're going to move to the next page. And I want you to, I'm going to read some more emotions and just sit with your body and see how you feel. So hatred, cruelty, impatience, pain, worry, anxiety, mistrust, envy, sadness, grief, loss, fear, paranoia, and traumas, anger, jealousy, and frustration. So just kind of let these emotions, you know, the vibrations that I'm just speaking of, these emotions, and just kind of hold them in your body for a second. Just see what's going on there. And I'm really curious, like, how did that feel to just kind of go through those two emotional worlds? So we went through the emotional world of the positive and the negative. Anybody got anything that they noticed that they'd like to share? Because it's definitely quite a different feeling, isn't it? But a lot of that is what we've been nurtured and taught to feel. So, as I mentioned before, these negative emotions are really, really important, that when we learn to have a good relationship with them, we really step into our power. And also, if we have a lot of those repressed emotions, we start working with sexual energy, what will happen if if we haven't worked with these emotions and we amplify sexual energy, you're going to amplify everything. So maybe, like, I like the kind of metaphor. Imagine every person probably is like 1% creepy, right? But imagine you then amplify that and suddenly you're 20% creepy, and that's not something that's so easy to hide anymore. And that's why you get so many of these tantra gurus that have got all these allegations made about them, because they're working with the sexual energy, but they haven't done the background work and the foundational work to get in touch with the emotional energies and clear them out. And they're still on the same kind of paradigm of Western civilization around emotions and masculinity. And that's why this stuff happens. And if they actually did this work, you wouldn't be seeing these things happening. So it feels like a relief to see it all mapped out and easier to accept and meet the feelings. And some of us, we do a really, really good job of like numbing everything down and stopping ourselves from feeling. And that awareness that we're actually numb is the first step to starting to open it up, and to start to actually get access to these energies that we can then start to work with. Because if you imagine, like, everybody has some amount of anger that we're operating off of. And if we just get rid of all that anger, we have a huge drop in our energy. But if we can transform the anger, we have an increase in the energy. And after all, we want to increase the energy. We don't want to lose it. So many people work on these issues with psychology or similar, meaning they spend years often going around in circles without clear results. Yeah, it's happened to me, happened to people I know, that therapy has its benefits and can be good, but it often doesn't actually resolve. There's a lot of issues it doesn't resolve. So this can also be painful, and it relies on awareness of events and emotions which may not be possible. And it's very in the head, whereas more and more we're realizing this stuff is in the body. So through these techniques that I teach, you can hack straight into the energy field, which is actually painless, and you can avoid years of therapy or messing around with YouTube videos and freebies, and clear the energy that is stopping you from being you. And yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just so important when we can shift from being this persona that doesn't know any different to one that does know different. The change and the results we get in our life are just enormous. And I have people giving me feedback that they're getting results in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I think that especially for people that go in, I actually feel like when people go in with a sense of childlikeness and just accept it and really allow that voice in the head, which is the voice of self-doubt, which is your ego, because the voice of self-doubt and that voice that's trying to keep you little and keep you down is your ego, because your ego thinks you're safer when you're little. When people can just go through that and just do this stuff like they're a kid playing in Disney World, that's when I find people really get the most quick. But sometimes people take a bit longer. I actually took longer when I first started learning this stuff. But also I feel like I was learning it from different people and in a bit of a disorganized way as well. But, some of my friends I've taught these exercises to, and in like 10 minutes, they're like, oh my God, I just felt the universe move through my body. And I'm like, really? Oh, it took me a long time to feel that. But, you know, we're all different, but it doesn't matter. Like, you know, as long as we keep doing what we need to do in our world, in our life to develop, you know, the universe is always providing us the solutions. It's just that most of the people, most of the time, just kick the solutions away, unfortunately. So let's have a look at genital reflexology. I hope you guys have all got my genital reflexology worksheet, but it's like the deepest level on which you can release energy and blockages and unprocessed emotions. So once one has worked with with one's body, and they manage to clear out a certain amount of the blockages, but most importantly, learn to work with the energy, to cultivate the energy, transform the energy, move the energy, store the energy, and so on. You can then start going. It's like the sexual energy is a more volatile energy. So it's really good to learn how to work with it in the gentle form within the body first before going to the sexual organs, because it all can get very, very volatile, you know, when it comes to the sexual organs. So this is actually nature's way of clearing our body from emotional blockages that you can activate for profound healing when we learn. I mean, I'm going to say this stuff is all in our original programming, but it's just been programmed out of us and lost, you know, so all we're doing is going back into our original programming. Now, I'm curious, is anyone here interested in learning how to hack the energy field? Or maybe should we just call it a night? I don't know. If you're interested to learn how to hack the energy field, give me a 5 in the chat. Let's see if it's worth it. Okay. You know, so I'm just going to introduce here genital reflexology, because once you've learned how to practice inner alchemy within your body, you can start practicing this sexual alchemy. Once you've kind of, it's important to just release a little bit out of the body so that then, you know, the energy can release much easier out of the sexual organs. Otherwise, you risk releasing energies back into the body where they can cause more problems. You risk amplifying things. Anyone else interested in learning the energy hacking? Give me a 5 in the chat. So one of the most powerful ways of releasing blocked energies from the genitals is with sound. Once you have developed the skills to do this, you are able to refine and clear the energy in the body on the deepest physical level. There's a deep reconnection with divine masculine and feminine energies when this is practiced. Effortlessly, a man oozes his masculine power and the woman's feminine energy becomes radiant. And I know this is like a super controversial topic because everybody's trying to tell us, if you're masculine, you should be like that. If you're feminine, you should be like that. No, you're too feminine, you're too masculine. And it's all a load of kind of rubbish because we all have these unique self-expressions. But when we learn to balance our energy, we send out this sexual energy, which will be unique to our personal energetic makeup. And it's very, very irresistible when it's authentic and powered by love and orgasm. So, you know, the genital reflexology, the benefits, you know, and also when I'm sure that probably most people have watched porn and know what porn sex looks like. Unfortunately, I do too. You know, it's probably like a very, very different style of sex than perhaps is practiced in traditional cultures. You know, so when you read about these people in, for example, Native American tribes, and the family is together in one room and the mom and dad have sex and the kids are sitting around, they're probably not acting out a porno scene, right? But they're probably having like a really amazing time because apparently these guys like pair bond really happily for life. So that does go to show the sexual energy is quite balanced, because when people talk about relationships breaking down because of love, it's very often it breaks down actually because of sex, if people are honest. So deep layers of trauma and blockages can be released in this way. So for example, like when women don't have internal orgasms, they don't have sensitivity inside of their vaginas. It's a simple process actually to release these layers of emotions. And men report their erections becoming really strong, like when they were a teenager, but in complete control. So in other words, the urges that have been pulling them towards sexual release as opposed to consciously choosing sexual engagements are eliminated. And actually, when you look at, people use terms like porn addiction, sex addiction, and what this is a lot of unprocessed emotions in the body with no way to vent. So it just gets released in single orgasm, which is actually a loss of orgasmic energy as well as the negative energy. But it's like you don't even lose the negative energy because it just comes back again. So women can notice the natural vaginal lubrication is restored, as well as perfect sensitivity and ability to experience every type of orgasm. So tomorrow we're going to go more into this sexual stuff. But the healing is reflected onto the physical body and can include restoring cancerous cells to their original programming. So even a lady that recently was working with me, and she's saying, "Oh, Jade, I feel so bad. I haven't been doing the exercises as much as you told me." And I was like, "Oh, don't worry. Just, try and do it more." And she goes, "But there's one really amazing thing, and this actually," I was like, wow, she wasn't even doing as much as I told her. Not that I'm trying to encourage anyone to be slack and lazy, but she'd had this problem with their cervix that a lot of women get, where they want to remove things out of the inside of the woman's body because of cancerous cells. And it's been going on for like 2 or 3 years. And they were really, really pressuring her to have an operation. And she started doing this exercises with me, and in a month everything had gone back to normal. And that was before even working with her sexual energy. So it's amazing what this can do. It's just amazing. And there's a deep reconnection with the soul purpose and the destiny, as well as restoration of the inner vision. So what you saw in those diagrams yesterday, which we're also going to talk about more tomorrow, the sexual energy very much is connected with the whole activation of ourself. So yeah, you guys hopefully have got my my genital reflexology worksheet. So I can see there's people here really where are we? Oh no, what's going on in the chat? Oh yeah, okay, so yeah, so one of the guys has just said he feels empowered in his feminine energy and expression of the masculine side, feels a bit more wounded. And what I notice going on now is there's a lot of like propaganda being thrown at men that is kind of pushing men to 2 extremes. One of them is an extreme that is quite emotionally bottled up, but the other one is also emotionally bottled up, but men are feeling quite henpecked by women, and that masculinity has come under attack, and very many like really nice, really lovely guys have really like repressed their masculinity because they've been taught it's somehow dangerous and toxic towards women. And this is really harmful to women as well as to men, because we women, we need to actually have healthy masculine energy around us. And the more a man is in touch with his cock and in touch with his sexual energy and in touch with his masculinity, I'm telling you, I have been around men, which have amazing balanced sexual energy, and it's literally just healed me just being in their presence without even any kind of a sexual relationship. So let's have a look now at some energy hacking, because I notice people, kidneys and willpower, right? Let's go back to that diagram in a moment. I see kidneys and willpower. What emotions is coming up here? Despair, sadness, confusion, heart. There's a lot of heart, frustration and anger, frustration, fear, insecurity, confusion. Okay, can I just hold a vote? Yeah. Again, type. Look, I'm going to work on 1, maybe 2 of these emotions, emotional fields and elements. Just people type in there what you're feeling you want to work with, and let's just see what's coming up, because that might have shifted even since I asked you to write it down. Oh, nice. I'm off to grab some Blue Lotus tea. I'm loving this. Anger, frustration, numbness. Numbness is everything blocked down, but working with anger is a really, really good way to kind of get this numbness out of the body. And anger is really about like our expression in the physical dimension. And if we go back to the slideshow and we go back a bunch of slides, right? And go back to those pictures. There we go. Okay. Let's look at the green box, okay? The wood element, liver, gallbladder. Oh yeah, does anybody here, there's no shame. If you do not know where is your liver, can you give me like a 6 in the chat if you don't know where is your liver? Yeah, I mean, you know, our organs are here. What about your spleen? Do you know where your spleen is? If not, can you give me a 6 in the chat? Because the organs are there working away for us 24/7. Imagine, we don't even acknowledge them. We don't know where they are. We don't say thank you. You know, people can be like 60 years old and you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, you got liver cancer. And you're like, where's my liver? Are you surprised your liver turned into cancer when you're not even saying thank you, liver? You know, thank you, spleen. So kindness, forgiveness, benevolence, and gratitude. But let's remember the purpose of the liver, because actually the main, what we call the main emotion of the liver is actually, we call it anger. But I do think that when Eastern people talk about anger, it is a slightly different vibration than we Western people, because Western people are quite famous for getting quite frustrated and angry. And I think it's down to like a lot of like programming, you know, that's put into us, where we're taught not to be in a relationship with these emotions. And I do think like with the, you know, I'm going to call it like the European civilization, or the civilization of white people, or whatever you want to call it, that there's been like a lot of programming put into us for a very, very long time, like in Europe, especially around I would say for the past 900 to 1,000 years, there's like a lot of hardcore programming being put into people by the church. Huge amount of repression. Imagine someone could just walk into your village and start grabbing you and torturing you and putting you to death for like no reason. You know, imagine going through centuries, generations and generations with that going on. Like people are going to become like quite psychotic. And it's not really a surprise that then Europeans went out and basically like trashed like the whole of South America, you know, because of having this really terrible relationship with their emotions and being so in denial about what they were. And you know, it's not specifically to blame the religion, but I think the expression of the religion, where it turned into a political force, was really, really dangerous. So, you know, the wood element, it makes us want to create. It's all different, you know. If you imagine tribal people, our ancestors way back in the day, it might make them want to create a house or create some pottery or create beautiful thing. I mean, you know, when these archaeologists, they dig up and they find all these amazing, you know, things that you can see like in the British Museum, where everything is not British, you know. And some of these things are like thousands and thousands of years old, like amazing jewelry, necklaces, pottery, all these different kinds of items. And apparently the older archaeology is all these beautiful things, and then as it gets more recent, it turns into weapons. And it's quite interesting, because you think in the past people were satisfying their wood elements through making these beautiful creations, and then they turned into warring people, killing each other with weapons when they weren't in such a good relationship with their wood element, you know. So if we imagine here we have this little guy, or these 3 little guys, we can imagine little green babies sitting in the liver, these 3 little hun that are trying to make us create in the real world. And what happens when we're trying to create and things keep getting in the way? You're trying to build a house and someone keeps coming and knocking it down. As you get angry, you get frustrated, you can get jealous, and these are all normal things to feel and a normal part of the human experience. But because we are sitting on the negative plane of the earth, the negative emotions amplify very, very quickly. So we don't generally need to work to increase our anger or work to increase the fear, although we might need to work to unrepress it and bring it into our attention so we can then work with it, okay? And I mean, I'm sure you guys all know this, but one of the most amazing things I discovered with my anger was, well, there's going and sitting and really, really feeling it and going into the depth of it when it comes, but also really actually giving love to the feeling of anger. And love, like, it's a kind of a just a small child that's screaming that really just needs some love and attention. So this is very, very often what's going on. And what we aim to do is balance out the negative emotions with the positive. So let's look at this: kindness, forgiveness, benevolence, gratitude. You know, and when we think of this anger, frustration, the kindness, the forgiveness, the benevolence, and gratitude, and all kind of mixing together in this green kind of soup that then causes this alchemical response, which is our creativity and our vision. So I want to invite you to just put your hand over your liver, which is on your right side, the lower part of your rib cage. It's a very large organ, and you can actually stick your fingers in under your rib cage and push up, and you're more or less massaging your liver. So try to even just give a little massage to your liver. And as you're doing this, nice and gently, just shut your eyes and smile, and send your smile to your liver as if you're smiling to an old, long lost friend. And as you smile to your liver, you can just visualize some green lights and the wood element. So I imagine, like, sometimes a little tiny seed shooting its little shoot up through the pavement, or maybe like visualize a jungle where you've got these creepers that just shoot up the trees, or flowers opening, the green color, the jungle. I think is amazing. And connect into what you feel is your path here in the physical material world. What are you here to create? And smile to your liver. And as you smile, start to send and imagine that you're cultivating this green energy inside of your liver. And you should really be like you're looking down into your liver, and you're visualizing that you're looking into your liver as this is going on. And then start to look into your liver and scan right and left, right and left, right and left in your liver. And as you're doing this right, left movement, I want you to just imagine that you're just collecting any energies from your liver that don't belong there. We're not going to name them, not say what they should be. Just anything. Just set your intention. You're gathering. You're going left, right, left, right, left, right. And then I want you to just open your eyes. And now you're going to stretch your arms up, put them together, and you're going to lean to the left. So you feel your liver is stretching open. And you're going to look up and make the sound. Shh. And then just move your body a little bit, just shake off a little bit as you do that. And that sound, it's like, shh, it's that sound, right? It's actually really, really powerful sound to transform anger. Shh. So let's just breathe in some of that green light into the liver. And again, let's stretch the arms, look up and make that sound. Shh. And I'm telling you, like, this can really work if you're feeling really angry about something. Also, the left, right, left, right, left, right with your eyes, you're just copying like the EMDR as well. So, you know, if you have like, say something happened, like, you know, whatever, my sister really annoyed me earlier and I'm feeling really, my sister, you know, which I don't tend to feel like my sister, but it's just an example, you know, someone that maybe you can't get out of your life. And you just shut your eyes and you sit with that emotion and you feel it and you hold it and you just go right, left, right, left, right, left. So maybe guys, try to tune into something you're feeling not good about, you know, and just shut your eyes and just start doing this right, left, right, left. I mean, and it's funny how we can disconnect from things. And it's actually something used in EMDR as well. Well, it is what's in the state of sleep when we go into rapid eye movement. But it's now being used in a therapy as well. So I got to jump into another meeting now, guys. But tomorrow we're going to be going like more into these practices, more into the sexual practices. I'm going to kind of take where you guys are at. If you didn't yet apply to book one of these 10-minute chats with me or ask me for any resources, you can feel free to do so as well. If you already messaged me and I didn't message you back, don't worry, I'm going to get back to you before the weekend is over. So I've enjoyed this evening. I hope you enjoyed it too. And I see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Bye.